YouTube. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a different video for my channel. You know why? Because this is the first time I'm ever going to ride a Harley Davidson. And on top of that, it's probably one of the coolest ones they've come out with in a while. This is the 2019 Harley Davidson Fxdr with the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8. So, for all of you that don't understand cubic inches, I myself had to go look this up because I'm a metric dude. That translates to 1,868 cc's. That is a giant ass motor. With a giant ass motor, you get giant amounts of torque. This thing makes 119 foot-pounds. However, it only makes about 85 to 90 horsepower. That's not as impressive, but you know, this is a laid-back couch of a bike. It's very comfortable. Being that I am totally used to riding twins and singles, I am used to the vibration that this bike has. I honestly thought that it was gonna rattle my hands off, but it doesn't. It's actually pretty comfortable. So right now I'm admittedly a little bored. I don't know where our route's really going, but we've been behind some cars and doing some suburban riding. I guess it really is cruising, but I really wanted to see what kind of power this bike made. Here we go. Doing a solid 45 miles per hour right now. So, more about the bike. Harley Davidson, on their actual website, I found this incredibly comical whenever I saw it. It literally says, minimum weight to maximize performance. Apparently, they've taken some measures to reduce weight on this bike to bring it down to a very scant 637 pounds bone dry. That wet weight moves up to 668 pounds fully wet. However, whenever I stood this bike up off its side stand, it really didn't feel that heavy. Even though I am totally used to riding bikes that weigh a solid 400 pounds less than this bike. Honestly, this bike weighs as much as my Ducati Street Fighter and my CRF 450X combined, and that is mind-blowing. So that is a major reason why Harley has to build these engines to be so large, because they need giant amounts of torque to get this really fat bike off the line. I feel like if Harley put some attention into really reducing weight on their motorcycles, they might be able to drop them down to reasonable enough weight where they might actually be pretty fast. The brakes feel like they stop pretty decent. However, I'm only going 40 miles per hour, so it's hard to say how well they really do work. But this bike is equipped with 2 4-piston calipers and 2 actually pretty large front rotors.
What are your thoughts so far?
It's pretty smooth. It oh.
This one's a little jerky. Supposedly, granted we just got it Tuesday.
Yeah.
A whole lot of obviously parts out. Supposedly, the stage 1 kit, which is just fuel management, you're supposed to be able to pull up to 40% power.
So he said with the stage 1 kit, you're supposed to build up 40% more power. So at 85 horsepower, we're probably looking at about an additional maybe 35 to 40 horsepower. That would bring this bike up to 120 wheel,
which would actually be pretty decent.
This thing does not have a tachometer. That really weirds me out. It's got your miles, total run time, the actual time. Here we go, RPM. There we go. There's the tach. This big ass motor is idling at 860 RPMs. Let's see where all the power is made. I bet it's gonna be about 3,500 to 4,000 RPMs. All right.
Whoa, I'm
pretty sure I just squawked it in third. That's nice. There goes John. He is bored out of his mind. But that's not what this bike is about. This bike is about cruising around, looking cool, feeling comfortable, and not having your balls swimming in sweat. So honestly, I thought I was gonna absolutely hate this thing, but it's really comfortable, and I've never really ridden a comfortable bike in my entire life, because you guys know I ride supermotos and sport bikes and all that stuff, which I love supermotos and sport bikes, but that's not what this video is about. This bike is about cruising. This bike is about being comfortable. This bike is about going long distance. But those are the kinds of bikes that Harley Davidson has always built and always will build. So honestly, as a cruiser bike, this bike makes decent power. It feels comfortable. It's not obnoxiously loud. It's actually got decent brakes, and it's got decent suspension. So I mean, I'm gonna give it a pretty solid review. It's a good bike. It is, however, $24,000. And the technology you get is a tiny digital speedometer, a keyless ignition, a 5,800 RPM red line at 85 horsepower, LED headlights and taillights, and that's it. That's the technology. It really doesn't have that much to offer. It does carry a huge price tag, but that price tag is for what is called the heritage, the grandiose feeling of riding a Harley Davidson. I really don't think that should say a whole lot. It's just brand and product placement. That's all it is. It's the same thing with Ducati. Ducati charges a lot for their bikes because it's a Ducati. Our test rider leader seems to really enjoy cruising around because we've done an average speed of 35 miles per hour during this trip. I once touched 60 miles per hour. That was about the fastest that we went. John got super bored and flew by us at like 100. I don't blame him. This really isn't my thing, but it is a nice bike. So I feel like this should be a solid review. It seems to perform really well. It seems to actually handle for a cruiser. It's comfortable, but it's a pretty decent bike. If there is one complaint I have about this bike, is that the transmission is just incredibly notchy. It is a giant clunk into any gear at any speed. It just feels super bizarre to me. I don't know if that's by design or if that's because it's got to have a really beefy transmission to handle the torque, but I wish they would fix that, because every time I hear a Harley go by and it shifts and it's like chugunk, it freaks me out, honestly. I'm like, is that thing about to fall apart? Is it about to explode? I don't know. This bike's a good bike. It handles well. It feels nice. The transmission could be a lot smoother. Jeez. If you want a power cruiser and you don't want a Ducati Diavel or a Yamaha VMAX, this is pretty much your only other bet. So this is the end of the test ride. So as always, if you like this video, make sure you click that like button. And if you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this from me in the future. And as always, do not forget to have a nice day. And we're gonna clunk the transmission into second gear for the last time.